So we talk about fasting, we talk about different types of allergies. A lot of people have different food allergies that we test them for. Different people have infections. We see a lot of people that we diagnose with Epstein-Barr virus. Herpes simplex was like completely, like there was a recent article they're basically saying this makes you like 10 times more likely to develop Alzheimer's if you have herpes. So viruses play a huge role. Toxins play a huge role. We test patients for heavy metals and different toxic exposures, and we have different treatments like 10-pass hyperbaric ozone. We have treatments like IV vitamin C, phosphatidylcholine IVs, and these things are very good to clear a lot of toxins and address some of these issues with infection. The other real consideration, which we'll get into a little bit, is mitochondrial function, right? Your body's ability to make energy. We'll have to talk about that, different ways to improve that. But amyloid beta, it's a big problem. This is the thing that we really need to make sure that we clear this stuff out. We don't let that develop and accumulate in our brain, because it's going to cause a lot of problems. So this is a normal nerve, and you see the amyloid beta and the tangles, it starts to monkey everything up. We don't want that. So we kind of touched on autophagy. Autophagy is super important, okay? This is when the body, it's like, in Greek, it's self-eating. Autophagy. So we have two cycles, primary cycles, that we have throughout a 24-hour period, okay? And this is the sleep-wake cycle is one aspect of it, okay? But there's also the growth, and then there's the cleanup. So when we're in the growth phase, where our body is actually building new muscles and new cells and new tissue in our eyes and our hair and our fingernails, right? And these growths are managed by something called mTOR. mTOR, we'll talk a little bit about mTOR here in a minute, and mTOR is a big buzzword out on the internet now. So when mTOR is activated, we're growing. But growth isn't always so good, right? I mean, what's cancer? Too much growth. So we don't want too much growth. What's the opposite of this is when the body shifts into autophagy, okay? So what's the biggest promotion of autophagy? Is not eating protein, actually fasting, and sleep. Because sleep actually regulates this circadian rhythm as well. So imagine that you're not cleaning things out quite enough, and this is a big thing in medicine right now. They're looking at, autophagy being a huge cause of a premature aging, chronic inflammation in the body. I mean, you could look at just about every disease that's happening in our time, and autophagy is a huge player in that, because when you actually use autophagy, what's happening is the body's actually taking old, weak, and dead and dying tissues and cells, and it's saying, okay, let's recycle you. So not only do they get rid of the stuff that's not working, but it goes over there and says, hey, I've got all these new building blocks, It's like not having to go to, if you're doing a remodel and you've got all these things in your house, that you can actually take some of those tiles, right? You can maybe clean up the toilet and still use the toilet. The sink is okay. So you're able to like recycle these things, and you don't have to go to, so if I could distill this down, imagine that, okay, so we need to talk about mitochondria, all right? It's a big word, I know. A lot of people know what it is, some people don't, but everybody has mitochondria in their body. And in fact, 30% of your body weight is these mitochondria. And so you're constantly making new mitochondria, and you're clearing out old, weak, and dead and dying ones. And the mitochondria are what take oxygen and glucose and make energy. And so that efficiency of being able to take oxygen and glucose and make energy is everything. I mean, there was a book, I got it in my other room, and it's basically like the new understanding of cancer. It's a mitochondrial problem at its essence. And in fact, most diseases really are a mitochondrial problem, because you start to get all these problems that we talked about earlier with the accumulation of toxins and infection, and how that affects our ability to make energy. So we lose that energy, and then that actually is the cause of the perpetuation of the disease. So here at the clinic, we're really interested in how we can maximize patients' mitochondrial function, because they'll start feeling better quick. If you can get mitochondria to start functioning, that's when the patients are calling us on the weekend saying, I feel better than I have in 20 years. And I love getting those type of calls, right? I mean, we've had them and we love them. And I'd say probably the thing that gets those calls to happen more than anything else that we do here is the 10-pass hyperbaric ozone. You guys agree? I mean, people come back and they're like, oh my gosh, I feel terrific. Because what the ozone is the ozone is actually a very, very powerful promoter of mitophagy, which is like autophagy, but it's for mitochondria. So we're going to kind of circle back to the autophagy, because when you are able to promote autophagy and you're able to clear these weak and old mitochondria, it's like getting rid of bad batteries, right? So you can see that if you have a lot of bad batteries, you're not going to be efficient at making energy. So what you want to do is you want to clear out the old and bring in the new. And this is going to really give you your overall consistency of where you're at from an energy standpoint, your status. How much are you clearing out? And then you're able to recycle all those goods, right? Your body says, this is all good stuff. I'm going to use this to make new mitochondria. So there's this turnover, and that average status of your mitochondria really depends on both the clearing out of the old and mitogenesis, making new. Some of the things that we do here that are massively impactful for mitogenesis are the 10-pass hyperbaric ozone. And for those that don't know what 10-pass are, I would suggest take a look at advancedrejuvenation.us. We've got a whole page on it, on ozone. But this ozone, it comes in and it's a huge stimulator for mitogenesis. But the CVAC, the pod, is also a huge promoter of that. Powerful to stimulate this glymphatic system like we talked earlier, but also it's very powerful. It's a powerful stimulator with mitophagy and mitogenesis. So it's really huge. It's a lot of it has to do with oxygen, because these mitochondria are using oxygen, right? So what's senescence? Senescence is another big one. This is when your cells go into a permanent state of sleep. We don't want that. It's a huge area that science is looking at is stem cell senescence and senescent cells in general, clearing out these senescent cells, because they're basically just cells that are in a permanent state of sleep that are just hogging up energy in space. It's like a bum that's basically kind of like crashed in your driveway, and like stealing your food or whatever, or a squatter. So these senescent cells, there's a lot of interest in developing different compounds and molecules with the pharmaceutical companies to promote clearance of these senescent cells. So we really want to have this autophagy to clear out these senescent cells, and pluripotency is really important, where stem cells are able to actually turn into different things. So when they don't have they inhibit their pluripotency, that means stem cells really aren't very valuable to us. So this is talking about autophagy here. I mean, you talk about, we talked about how autophagy is incredibly important to all diseases. I mean, look, it's related to cancer, immune system problems, cardiomyopathy, infectious disease, fatty liver, type 2 diabetes, neurodegenerative diseases, cell death. So do we think autophagy is kind of important? So why is this such a big deal for our society? I'll give you one reason. Because we eat all the time. We don't take breaks from eating. We're taught to have a breakfast, a lunch, and maybe snack between breakfast and lunch, right? And then we have lunch and we have dinner, and we have a snack between there, right? And then we have a little ice cream before dinner, before bed. So the body is never able to have a state where it's not metabolizing food. But it's just like the sleep-wake thing. So the promotion of the sleep-wake is the light, right? It's that blue light. We talked about that when we first started this presentation. If you're at night and it's supposed to be your body's winding down, ready for sleep, and you've got bright blue and green lights from your computer and your cell phone shining into your eyes, you're telling your body, hey, it's morning, wake up. And then you expect to go to sleep and have a restful sleep. Unique and powerful formulations and delivery systems, sustained release technology, and specialized probiotic strains that support specific therapeutic targets. For more information about our exciting product lineup, you can go to advancedbiocorp.com, or you can email us at info@advancedbiocorp or give us a call. Remember, if healing is possible, consider it to be within your reach. Bye for now.